May the 14th, 2024. Guys, two things I want to talk about in this video. First, an update. You're looking at Solar Ham, and it's solarham.com. It's been on our website, one of the major links, for a dozen years at least. Now, we're dealing with the same sunspot on this update. Right here, it is like a departing goodbye wave, but it happened to be the strongest one so far. Matter of fact, the strongest one I think of the solar cycle, an 8.7. Took a lot of energy away, but look how long the flare lasted. See that? If you see a short peak like that, it's a real fast burst. But then when you see this peak into, especially in an X class, then as it declines, it continued to roll out energy. What that would be, how that would affect if this thing is Earth directed, and it may not be except for the photon, the light burst. But we'll look at it. It did do what they call a global delayer absorption, and it happened over the United States because it's daylight here and we're sun facing. That interferes with shortwave ham radio communications, things like that. But right here again, an 8.7. Now the X flare chance is down to 40%. Remember, it's been pretty high, and I think it's because this system is turning and rotating around. But we still have an 80% chance of M flares, which is just under the X. Let's take a look at what it looked like as it happened. Now, this is the SDO. We look at it quite a bit, the Solar Dynamics Observatory. It gives us an Earth-facing perspective. I've got this paused at this section of the X flare here, again, 8.7. And I'm going to play it through. We've got to pay attention to this section here and this section that all of this is rotating from the left to the right. And just let me play this through. We'll go back. It goes back 2 days. Watch the activity here. We had flares. We've even had a strong M flare from one of the new spots, but a lot of action on that departing sunspot bottom right. Very energetic. And guys, that sunspot more than likely in 2 weeks will be coming back around the left side, as big and strong as that area is. We've seen them do it many, many times, come back with a lot of power. We did have a couple of satellites that were in orbit with our planet, but in different sections of the orbit, and we were getting very good shots of the backside of the sun in that orbit. But now they're very so close to Earth. They're called stereo A and B, and you get almost the same perspective. But again, right at the end, that's a strong flare. The same satellite, different camera, also going back 2 days, 13th and the 14th. Here's our departing giant right there. Got a sunspot here. And when you've got your different colors, your blues and your reds, that's opposite polarities, and that's where you see your arcing. Now, remember that big sunspot and, the big solar flare and explosion we saw coming around the backside? Right here, we're starting to see definitely the polarity in the blue forms, and that's where the camera picks it up. If you look closely, as it rotates around, you're starting to see the different colors. How strong it will become, we don't know yet. You got, again, this group here, and we'll just have to watch it. Sometimes we've seen rapid development from a smaller section, and you've got such a large area here. If this starts forming, then you've got a lot of area that's disrupted to work with. Now, one more view from a different camera on the same spacecraft. This is the same 2-day period. Also, here's the departing giant right there. Notice that magnetic canopy. It's amazing. And that's one of the stronger ones in view. But right now, this is all starting to strengthen. Look at the explosions in there. Remember, the southern hemisphere of the sun is more Earth directing than the northern hemisphere because we're slightly below their equator as far as looking at it from the ecliptic view. A lot of activity going on. We have to keep an eye on it. And again, it would be this area here that I would be the most concerned about. Now, on the CME tracker, guys, this is the latest information we have. It's 2 blasts here, and that's Earth directed in this one. This may be the X flare. I'm not sure yet on that, but what we're looking at on the timing here of impact is this afternoon, and let me let this thing play back, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is your density. This is your solar wind speed, and both green graphs represent our planet. Now, what we're dealing with here, let's come up to where we're going to start to see the impacts, and that could be happening now. We'll check the Discover satellite for the solar wind speed, and you can see right here we're starting to get involved with it. That's today, 1700 hours UTC time. That would be 1200 hours on the East Coast, guys, and that is saying that we should already be starting to see the impact. Now, it's not nearly as strong as what we were dealing with. More than likely, it will have G1 or G2 magnetic storm involved with auroras and, again, some radio blackouts. But that looks like, again, starting in the major impact point as far as the peak of it. Let me move this forward. Right there, 2,300 hours. That would be 1,800 hours on the East Coast, or 6 p.m. this afternoon in New York, where it will be peaking. And then you can do your timing from there, 7 p.m. here Central Time. Now, to our other major space link on our website, spaceweather.com, guys. Current conditions, we see an elevated wind speed, 554 kilometers per second, very fast. The average is like 320 kilometers per second, but we're starting to see that elevation. Proton density is picking up here, and we'll look at the chart just a moment. And we can see definitely we're starting to see the impact, guys. And look how steady it is. It's like a solid wave with it's not varying very much. Here in your proton density, here in your solar wind speed, and here in the temperature of what we're dealing with. Doesn't look like yet it's involved with the rise, but I noticed on the CME chart we just saw with the model that it wasn't a slam like a solid brick wall impact. It had a rise right at the front of it, and that may be what we're dealing with here, but definitely a jump. See that? So it would, again, dealing with 550, 552, something like that in the kilometers per second. Again, and we're dealing with a G2 magnetic storm at that. Let's read about it. The geomagnetic storm watch, G2. The big storm is over. Now for the little storm. They've talked about it before. NOAA forecasters say that the minor G1 to moderate G2 geomagnetic storms are possible today in response to a glancing below CME from a departing sunspot 3664. Now, to what we just talked about is the strongest solar flare of the current solar cycle. Sunspot AR 3664 just unleashed the strongest flare of the current solar cycle, this X 8.7. The category blast from beyond the sun's western limb, X marks the spot, and they're talking about what we saw on the very satellite itself. Now, this is again from the Solar Dynamics Observatory. Because the sunspot is behind the edge of the solar disk, the flare was partially eclipsed. It was probably even stronger than it appeared. The X 8.7 is almost certainly an underestimate of the flare's true strength. That's because our sensors, the satellites between the sun and the Earth that give us this information, were not directly impacted. A side glancing blow, mostly of, again, photon energy. Extreme ultraviolet radiation from the flare ionized the top of Earth's atmosphere, causing a deep shortwave radio blackout. And again, that's the X.7. This was over the Americas. Ham radio operators, aviators, and mariners may have noticed a sudden loss of signal at all frequencies below 30 megahertz. Now, let's take a quick look at CERN. Remember in the earlier video from this week that CERN went off when we had the impact of that major G5 solar storm. And what we're seeing now are all green lights in the cryogenic sections. And that has to stay, if you notice, 2K right here. They like to have it right there at it or just a little below it. If any of these sectors in that 17-mile loop go red or above that temperature, which is the temperature of outer space, then it has to shut down everything. Right now, it is not running full power. We'll take a look at that. But what you're looking at, notice your timestamp at the top, is live images from the Franco-Swiss border. This is also live. And what we're dealing with here in the red and blue lines, you've got here at the bottom and the black line. The black line is the adding together of the power of both of these lines. When they're colliding properly together at high speed, this black line will rise up to what they want. Notice your scale here on the right, 6,000. This is giga electron volts, 7,000. But what they measure it in a lot of times is TeV, or tera electron volts. And what they like to do is get 6.5 tera electron volts out of each of the red and blue beams, giving them 13 total TeV in this black line, and that represents the power. This represents the two beams, and we're seeing some drops here, and it's not back up to full power yet, and drops here. And that could have been from different reasons. Something could have went red for a moment. Another live image as we're doing this. It is 4:03 p.m. Central Time today. Beam 1 on the left, beam 2 on the right. And what you're doing, guys, it's represented here, and this is how many times that they've injected. But right here, this is your elevation. This is your windage if you're scoping a rifle. And what they'd want to do is get these two to collide at the exact same point. They're going out so fast you couldn't imagine it, in a 17-mile loop and colliding. And in order to do that, they keep those magnets super cooled below at the almost below the temperature of outer space, so that the superconductivity happens and you don't overheat these super magnets. And so they're playing a game, a balance game, trying to balance these until they get the collision. In other words, right now they're not running full power. This is why. But when they match the windage and elevation, in the red line represents beam 2, blue line beam 1, then they get that collision and that power will rise. But they're back online. We expected they would be. I don't know if they were. It was a forced shutdown when the G5 hit, a magnetic storm, that they sensed it, or we did see that their cryogenics overheated very rapidly, didn't we? But that's what you get for building something in the underground currents. And I know that they've taken advantage of it many times. I'm sure they have. That's probably why they built it. But that G5 woke them up just a little bit, didn't it, guys? Now, for the second part of the video. Now, what you're looking at is this morning's video. You're looking at Yukon, the husky there. Remember him running around so beautiful. Anyway, we had committed to Bonnie that if she stepped in there and got him out of that line of being, he was going to go down at 4 o'clock today, that we would be responsible. And we did what we said. She did what she said. And here's how it's working right now. And I'm going to show you a link that Tina has put on our website that links to a lot of their information, guys. And I've talked with her so much today trying to get all the contact information right, that you can tell in her voice she's really excited about, and that they're really sincere about helping. It's not any type of scam. I would have known it immediately. But you can look at the information and what they're doing on Instagram, Facebook, and they have their own rescueme.org page. We'll show you that. And we're trying to save about 5 dogs today. And what they've got a deal set up with some of the local kennels, that if they pull them out of the shelter before they're euthanized, the kennels give them special prices. They charge, I think, $75, maybe $90 a day. I can't remember the exact number. But because these girls work with them so much, they get a daily boarding of $30 per dog. So she pulled that, and she got Yukon out of it. She got another one, Coco, that's in the list that I'm going to show you. I think he's been home too. But what happened with Yukon was someone had, from the video last night, had called them and said they were going to come get him. And then they backed out. I don't have to go into that. Things come up. And that's how it is. Well, she had already went in and got him. And she's got, I think she told me, 12 dogs personally, and plus they work with all these other animals. And that she couldn't be stuck with him. And so she didn't have the room, she didn't have the money, and we understood. I put myself out there on the line to save this puppy. Now, the way it's working out now He's going to be sent to me this Thursday, I think it is. And what I had to do was put a deposit down of $200, and that's to get the contract with the people that do this for a living. A couple of them will load up in their van and take turns driving, drive overnight, and deliver 2 or 3 animals at a time when they come out of California headed this way. And that's what they're going to do. Now, it's $1,000 altogether. Now, I also I have 10 dogs, 8 huskies. All of y'all know that. And so, what would you say? Why don't you just keep him? Because if you're feeding that many, what would one more be? That's not my concern, and I wish I could. And if I have to, then we'll keep him for a few days or whatever we have to. But my concern is I have 5 male huskies that all belong to the same pack. And so I have seen that they don't always get along with no matter how friendly Yukon could be. My huskies may take it as an intrusion. You understand what I'm saying? The pack mentality. And I don't want to get anybody hurt, especially on my dogs or this beautiful husky Yukon. But I did what I said what I'm going to do. They've already sent the forms. All that's been filled out, the $200 deposit, and I have to pay the $800 when they get to Mississippi. And here's what I'm hoping will happen. That between now and when they, I think in a few days before they pick Yukon up, that a lot of you folks that saw the video last night, you come in, some were saying, I'll put 100 in, I'll put 300 in. We want to get the dog. And some were saying if I could get him, then I would take him. I have the money to feed him and take care of him. By the way, he's up on all the shots and stuff. But they would take him. So we are obligated to pay that. And so I want you to do 2 things. I want you to think about, could you handle him? Because they're going to be coming, from west to east. I think they deliver all over the East Coast and in between there, too. And so I'm obligated to pay that $800 on delivery. So that I knew that would give me time to talk with you guys. So if some of y'all want to help me with that, I'm going to put a donate button, my PayPal button down in the comments here. That's not why I'm doing it. We also put the $100 in there that would pay this boarding fee for a few of these dogs for the next few days while they work on getting some of the other ones in this group that are going to be killed this afternoon out of there. And some of you guys have already put a few $100s in too, but we can do much better, okay? So if some of you would like Yukon and you have the means to take good care of them, you're going to have to have a fenced yard. But these dogs, if you're especially anywhere besides in the Yukon, they get very hot in the summer, so they are very good inside dogs. They're very smart, and he's old enough to be house trained. You won't have to go through that puppy, or you know what, right? So look, if you haven't seen the video, look at it. It's in the video before this one, and it shows him playing and how beautiful he is. It's amazing. He's very well built, very well mannered, and just playful. Anyway, so in my donate button, you can help me with the $800. I'm going to pay it one way or the other. And I didn't have it, but I had a lot of people saying last night that they would help with that. And so I know you guys, and I know how you feel about this, so do that. Also, I'm going to put in this video, if you saw it this morning, all of these links were not there. And this is some of the other dogs that they have that are in trouble. This is links to Bonnie's PayPal. There's Zelle link here too. Again, I've talked to them. I've looked at their information. You're going to see some of that too. They're a legitimate organization, and they're stressed on both room, money, but they're working hard. It's a group of wonderful ladies there. But let's take a look at that. But again, on the video before, you'll see their PayPal link. That's going to help them get some of these other dogs out of the shelter that they're in and into some boarding kennels that people volunteer to do that until they're homed, right? So if you come in there, especially, coming from this group, if you go in there and you talk to them and say, I want this dog, they're going to help, and they're going to pull them out of this lineup. Not just these, but any of them that come up. And if you say, well, we're going to get them, because she said they had a problem with people saying they wanted the dog, so they would put the money up and get them out of the shelter into a kennel, and then people just wouldn't show up, and so they're stuck, and people that are trying to help them home them or help them house them until they get them home are stuck in a situation that they didn't sign up for, and it piles up on everyone. So make sure you're ready for that. Anyway, I want you to contact me. I'm going to put my Facebook information here and on this video, and I want you to come there in the where you can message me. I'm not going to put that all the contact information on YouTube. I don't really like putting it anywhere, but I want you to come in there, and we did it with the last husky we rescued, and that worked out great. The communication was good, so we're going to do it that way. So come in there and say, Jesse, I want this husky. I'm not asking you to pay anything for him. I'm asking you to have enough money to take care of him. And again, a good fenced yard, and they need to be inside in this heat in the summertime. You know, they're going to play in the mornings. They're going to want to run out and do all that, but they can overheat, and any dog can, any animal can. They have that extra coating though. So I'm going to put the links to all of that, and let's look at some of the information. Let's go over to the website, and I'll show you what Tina's done with these ladies. Now, guys, remember in the video this morning I talked about to send the husky, it would cost between $7,000 and $1,000, right? And but to people that are local or that can drive there, it's $70. So I'm going to show you their site and let you look at that. And you can go there. Just open up your heart, because we're in the end times. And what happened in the last end times, God had Noah build a giant ark. Noah wouldn't have needed that big boat, but just him and his family. You know that. It was to save these animals. And in end times that we're in now, you'll be walking into heaven with that one of these babies with you. And God will say, good job. You saved these creatures that I asked Noah to save. You opened your eyes at the end time. You realize the importance of making it to the next level, and these creatures making it with you, these beings, just like in the days of Noah. Anyway, here's rescueme.org. That's to the main site, and this one is with Yukon. Down here is Bonnie's site, the Soulful Dog Rescue. Please adopt, foster, rescue. Now, this is Norman, and she is, I'm hoping and praying, and I think she pulled Norman out of that lineup. Beautiful dog. There's videos of him running around playing and everything, but there's other ones. But if you click here, let's do that. They have set up their own Rescue Me page for their group. Let's go there. And notice this says private party. That is Bunny and her group. And notice the red. That's always the bad sign that they will be euthanized soon, if not adopted. Now, it's overwhelming when you look at Florida's list, Texas, and California. But you guys in that area especially, look at these dogs. They're not all huskies that she has. They're all beautiful, though. Look at this American Bulldog, Russell. You going down, Parker, 10-month-old Siberian Husky. Beautiful dogs, Kinko, Garbo, and it goes on and on. There's pages and pages. If they're red line like this, they are in trouble. Here's Cleo, another husky. But they're all special. They're all God's creatures. So I want you to go there, look at that. I'm going to put the links to where it would help them for you to contact them. Save some of these animals. If you can't save them, maybe you can help with what, again, the $30 a day to get one of them out, one you really like or whatever, or just put into their general fund to help them. Then, again, we're in those days. I'm going to do a video on just that, just Noah and the ark, and go into detail on what I think about it. And actually, there's some amazing information that's come out just recently about what happened when Noah and his sons landed. A lot of people think they were so primitive, but the information coming out is not. They were not primitive at all. They were master city builders. So it tells you before they went into the ark, they were much more advanced than what people believe. And think about it, who would have built the cities after the flood if it wasn't for Noah and his sons? And they're finding now details of that. That'll be a video. But guys, again, the links will be below. There, you can go. If you go there, they also have a Facebook page. Let me show you that. Now, this is Bonnie Lapierre's page. This is the lady we've been talking to, and from what I understand, quite a few have been talking with her since possibly last night. But you can come down here, guys, and these are some of the animals right here. Yukon is involved in this. They also have a white husky named Snowy. But look at these creatures. This is Norman, I believe, one of the ones that are critical. I think most of the ones in this are. But there's information here. Different animals, not just dogs that they help. But guys, and here's some of the list of the different animals. We've got, I'm pretty sure Coco's been pulled from here. Now Yukon has been pulled from here. And this one is Snowy, another white Siberian husky. But here's two shepherds, guys, that are going to be in trouble. Open your heart. You know what? If you do that, you think you're having a hard time now, you don't think blessings will start pouring down? Because you're helping the creatures that God told Noah to help, to keep them alive. Remember, they were here way before men. Just think about it. They need your help. They can't talk. They can't say, take me to the doctor. You have to pay attention to that. But when you do, you create such a special, loyal relationship with these animals. In this, you saw the rescueme.org page. Bonnie Lapierre here, and that will link to a lot of her friends that are helping her involved with this. Guys, it's just a mission that we need to pay very close attention to. Dogs in every state need help. Right now, we can't do them all at one time. We're kind of focused on Southern California. So, again, you know the deal with me, and you know the deal with them, with Bonnie and that group there that have pull Yukon. He would probably be gone in a few hours. We're watching it, guys. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.